Devour your fears or they will devour you. Fear is a lie. Stop believing lies. The piano keys are black and white, but they sound like a million colors in your mind. There's only so much emotional superglue in a person's soul that everything just stays broken. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you don't try. It's a lack of clarity that creates chaos and frustration. Those emotions are poison to any living goal. Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. Everything smaller than heaven bores us because only heaven is bigger than our hearts. The truth may be out there, but the lies are inside your head. Great things happen to those who don't stop believing, trying, learning, and being grateful. Life takes a bit of time and a lot of relationship. Root for others to win, and you will remain blessed. There is always room for more people to elevate. When life gives us challenges, there are opportunities to grow, just like storms feed the plants and give us rainbows. Consuming all your income leads to financial insecurity, but earning to invest paves the way to financial freedom. Living a princely life requires that you learn to think and reason like the prince, talk and behave like him, react like him as well. Remember how far you've come, and you won't have to rely on a destiny for your future. It will come on your own. Like gravity, karma is so basic we often don't even notice it. It's not the men in your life that matters, it's the life in your men. There are some things that it is better to begin than to refuse, even though the end may be dark. A single death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic. Don't look to the approval of others for your mental stability. So you never know who you touch. You never know how or when you'll have an impact, or how important your example can be to someone else. The human person finds his perfection in seeking and loving what is true and good. You are, after all, what you think. Your emotions are the slaves to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. Stop doing what is easy or popular. Start doing what is right. If you believe, you can, but work hard to believe. Good things happen in your life when you surround yourself with positive people. Nothing is generous. New knowledge is a valuable commodity. The more truth we have to work with, the richer we are. Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. And just when I thought things were starting to get better, everything had gone wrong again. Great truths can only be forgotten and can never be falsified. The most important decision you make is to be in a good mood. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. It shattered something inside me that hadn't been broken before. Never break or fold, that's what it takes to be major. When we least expect it, a new door opens on its own to take us where we belong. Success isn't a result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. Like a missing tooth, sometimes an absence is more noticeable than a presence. We have no right to express an opinion until we know all of the answers. There's no point in wishing. We can't change anything about the past. We can only remember. We can only move forward. The world is a tragedy to those who feel, but a comedy to those who think. You don't need to understand what the world is. Just let your life flow with it and become something. Real courage is when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and see it through no matter what. Between living and dreaming, there is a third thing. Guess it. Suspect each moment, for it is a thief, tiptoeing away with more than it brings. You must do the things you think you cannot do. We seek the fire of the spark that is already within us. Tongues and trees, books and running brooks, sermons and stones, and good in everything. I don't know what's worse, to not know what you are and be happy, or to become what you've always wanted to be and feel alone. Over time, hidden truths morph in the dark soil of deceit into something much worse. You cannot teach a man anything, you can only help him find it within himself. Imagine no limitations, decide what's right and desirable before you decide what's possible. We should forgive our enemies, but not before they are hanged. To become a lifelong reader, one has to do a lot of varied and interesting reading. The man of wisdom is never of two minds. The man of benevolence never worries. The man of courage is never afraid. The joy in life is who has the heart to demand it. Anyone can hide. Facing up to things, working through them, that's what makes you strong. People will not remember what you did for a living. They will remember how you touched them with kindness and loving. In life, there are two things which are dependable: the pleasures of the flesh and the pleasures of literature. Keep the fight in your veins, honey. Never let it fade. To hide feelings when you are near crying is the secret of dignity. Your story is remarkable, even if you don't know it yet. A trusting heart will follow, only those who truly follow their heart. Life is half delicious yogurt, half crap, and your job is to keep the plastic spoon in the yogurt. If tomorrow were never to come, it would not be worth living today. There are many things worth living for, a few things worth dying for, and nothing worth killing for. There is more to life than simply increasing its speed. The terrible thing about the quest for truth is that you find it. One can be the master of what one does, but never of what one feels. Despite its dark veins, the transparency of dragonflies' wings assures me of a pure, innocent world. When you fail, you also learn how not to fail. If you appreciate the small things, you're likely to get the big ones. The secret of life is honesty and fair dealing. If you can fake that, you've got it made. Step without fear. Helping anyone to step out of fear is the best emotional recipe for the mind. There is no shelter from the willful blindness of a politician. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Don't be afraid to challenge the pros, even in their own backyard. Emotion often outwits intelligence, while intuition renders life surprisingly fluent and enjoyable. It is one thing to be clever and another to be wise. We all know we're one day closer to the end when we wake up in the morning. We just kid ourselves that it's not happening. The moment you make someone promise anything is the same moment you ask them to lie to you. If your dreams don't scare you, they are too small. The best fiction is far more true than any journalism. Do no harm and leave the world a better place than you found it. Life is an experiment in which you may fail or succeed. Explore more, expect least. It is when those who are not strong enough have made some moderate amount of progress that they fail and give up. Each affects the other, and the other affects the next, and the world is full of stories, but the stories are all one. All the world is queer save thee and me, and even thou art a little queer. Don't take life too seriously. Punch it in the face when it needs a good hit. Laugh at it. You do not write your life with words. You write it with actions. What you think is not important. It is only important what you do. You must not ever stop being whimsical, and you must not, ever, give anyone else the responsibility for your life. If that's the case, I understand why emotions are hard for you. You've numbed yourself to make room for the grief you carry. I do not care so much what I am to others as I care what I am to myself. The moment a little boy is concerned with which is a jay and which is a sparrow, he can no longer see the birds or hear them sing. The man who writes about himself and his own time is the only man who writes about all people and all time. The worst thing about being lied to is knowing you weren't worth the truth. You should expect mistakes in your life. Mistakes are expected, inspected, and respected. If you hear how wonderful you are often enough, you begin to believe it, no matter how you try to resist it. You will never follow your own inner voice until you clear up the doubts in your mind. Until you change how you get things done, you'll never know what works best.